All right, let's just jump right in. Think about how much of our workday happens inside tools like Microsoft Teams. We're in there all day, every day, sharing files, chatting, we just trust it. But what happens when that trust becomes a vulnerability? That's what we're talking about today, how cybercriminals are turning the very heart of our digital workplace against us.
So, I have to ask you, is your work chat actually a backdoor? It sounds pretty alarming, right? But that casual, trusting environment of our work chats, that's exactly what attackers are banking on. They're hoping we're just relaxed enough to let our guard down so they can walk right in.
So first up, let's talk about the weapon itself. And this isn't some super complex, obscure piece of software we're dealing with. No, this attack uses one of the most common tools in the corporate world and basically turns it into a Trojan horse. And this, right here, gets to the real genius and the real danger of this attack. It's all about psychology. See, we're all trained to be on the lookout for sketchy emails, but a message from someone on Teams, it just feels safer, you know? Like it's coming from inside the house. And that built-in sense of security is exactly what they're exploiting.
This is a pretty scary evolution in tactics. For years, the mantra has been, watch out for email phishing. We've gotten pretty good at it, but the bad guys adapt. They've moved the fight to a new battlefield where our defenses are way, way lower. A direct message on Teams doesn't just bypass a lot of the usual security filters, it bypasses our own skepticism.
So how do they pull this off? Well, it all kicks off with a really convincing disguise. The entire attack lives or dies on one thing, their ability to make you believe there's someone they're not.
And here's a look at how they do it. These display names are just perfectly crafted to sound legit. They're using super generic terms like IT support or help desk. But look closer. See that little checkmark emoji? That is so clever. It's a simple low-tech trick to make the profile look verified, you know? At a quick glance, your brain just accepts it as official.
This quote from security researchers just hits the nail on the head. The technology, Microsoft Teams in this case, is really just the delivery system. The real exploit, the real hack, is happening inside our own minds. They're counting on us to be helpful, to trust that little ping from IT. Okay, so the disguise is in place. But how does a simple chat from a fake IT person turn into a full-blown system takeover? Let's walk through the playbook, step by step.
So here's how it goes down. It starts so innocently, just a hello from IT about some ticket or routine update. They build a little rapport, make you feel comfortable, and once that trust is established, bam, they make their move. They ask you to install remote access software, something like Quick Assist. The second you give them that access, it's over. They have a direct line into your machine, and from there, they run their malicious script. Game over.
Now, this basic technique isn't brand new. We've actually seen similar plays from big ransomware groups before, but what's changing is how refined and direct it's become. They're skipping the big, noisy email campaigns and going for these surgical strikes. And they're constantly swapping out their malware. Using newer payloads like Darkgate, they're always improving.
So, once the attacker is in, what can they really do? Well, the short answer is pretty much whatever they want. Let's break down the kind of damage this payload can cause. The weapon they use to take control is something called a PowerShell script. And here's the crazy part. PowerShell isn't some shady hacker tool. It's a legitimate, super powerful administration tool that's built right into Windows. But you know, in the wrong hands, it gives an attacker total control over your computer's core functions. They can do anything.
And that script unleashes some seriously nasty stuff. It can steal your logins, often by using a fake Windows password prompt that looks completely real. It creates a permanent backdoor so they can come and go as they please. But this last one is just ruthless. It can designate its own process as critical to the system. What does that mean? It means if you spot it in your task manager and try to shut it down, your entire computer will blue screen and crash. It's an insane self-defense mechanism.
And we think we know who's behind these attacks. Research points to a group they're calling Water Gamayun. These are financially motivated criminals, and they're known for this exact kind of thing, blending clever social engineering with custom malware. And their favorite targets? English-speaking folks in IT and development.
All right, enough of the scary stuff. We've seen the threat, we know how it works. Now for the most important part. How do we actually stop it? Let's look at the key giveaways that can tip you off before it's too late.
Okay, this right here, this is probably your single best line of defense. You have to look closely at the person's full email address. Attackers love to abuse Microsoft's own onmicrosoft.com domain. At a quick glance, cybersecurity admin might sound official, but it's not part of your company's domain. This is an external account, plain and simple, just dressed up to look like it's internal. This is the tell. This is the red flag you cannot miss.
So let's put it all together. Here's your game plan. Number 1, be suspicious of any unsolicited contact on Teams, even if it looks like it's from IT. Number 2, question any request for passwords or credentials. And number 3, this is the big one, never, ever install remote access software just because someone asked you to in a chat. The golden rule here is to stop and verify. Get a weird request? Pick up the phone. Use a number you already know is real and ask, "Hey, did you just ask me to do this?" And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. It's one thing to hear about this threat, but it's another thing entirely to be ready for it. This isn't just some hypothetical theory. So the real question is for you, what is your verification plan? If you got a message like this tomorrow, right now, what would be your exact step-by-step process to check if it's real? Because having that plan ready to go is what will keep your trust from being turned against you.